welcome back to Driver 88. Today we've got quite a nice episode for you. I am underground Dutton Garage, which is one of my favorite places on earth. Prestige supercars and hypercars get sold here, and the stock is changing very, very quickly. I thought we'd get a bit of a market update from my good mate Henry, who's been selling cars for a few years now here at Dutton Garage. Some of the best stock in the world goes through here, even though we are at the end of the earth in Melbourne. Most of that stuff you don't get to see. So today we're gonna go into the bowels of Dutton Garage, see a few nice cars and get a market update from Henry. So please enjoy. So we'll let Henry do most of the talking, but there's a few highlights here. Number one is 300 SL Roadster. That's pretty much one of my dream cars of all time in an amazing color spec. It's kind of like my dream wedding car. Have a look at that upstairs. There's a whole list of different cars here. One of the things that I think has really come off a fair bit is the HSV and Holden market. I think there was just a bit too much hype going along maybe a couple of years ago for those. They've come down a fair bit and you won't see as many of them here. This SS is quite nice though.
Hey, I'm Henry from Dutton Garage. I work here as a sales agent, attempting to sell cars is what I do. So I've been here for 3 years, so I've seen, a change in car market prices and how crazy everything's been recently because of COVID. Obviously here in Melbourne, we've had a 2-year lockdown, so everyone expected cars to not sell as hard as they did, and they exceeded expectations and sold like mad, but now we're in a bit of a downfall. Everything's getting more expensive, or cars are coming down in price. It varies. If you've got a good car, you'll be okay, but there's people out there who are buying cars that might not appreciate like they think it will. In fact, it might depreciate. They don't know it yet, but we can sort of see it coming because I'm surrounded by it every single day here. Working here is great. I mean, you meet a lot of people. I've sold cars to people who are 18 years old, and I've sold cars to people who are 95. Regardless, I meet people all over the world. It's great, and there's a lot of people that come in here. I think that's the best thing. I'm constantly meeting new people, and because of the caliber of the cars, it's usually high-profile people as well. So I'm surrounded by people with good insights on business and life and what cars. And I love cars, so to me, it's not really work. It's just showing up at a car dealership. I think if I had to work at a normal car dealership like a BMW or something, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. But because I'm surrounded by so many different brands, I'm not based on just one brand. That's what makes it interesting. But yeah, we'll dive into it more, and I'll tell you about the cars and prices and what's been going on recently. So one of the highlights at the moment are, pretty much any Lamborghini. They've gone very hard recently in terms of appreciation, but especially the special models like Performantes, STOs, SVJs, things like that. Even Uruses are selling, couple-year-old Uruses are selling for more than what they were brand new. I can't disclose how much this was sold for, but brand new this car would have been around the $1 million mark, and it's sold pretty well over that. And we've got a couple cool SVJs on the way, so there's a massive market for them, and I think it's because of this era of cars being electrified and hybrid, and I believe that this is probably the last NA V12 Lamborghini before it goes hybrid or something. So, and I think a lot of other people are realizing that as well and grabbing them now while they can at the price. Even though the price is quite high, it'll probably keep going. Even things like Performantes I've sold recently, pre-COVID were X amount of money, and then COVID happened. For some reason, people were so bored here in Melbourne and Australia that they couldn't do anything. So the only thing they could do was drive a car. So there was a massive market for cars during COVID, which no one expected. Things like Performantes and special GT3s, Porsches have always gone really well, 911s. There are only 2 cars that have had the same price pre-COVID, during COVID and post-COVID. Pretty much any 911, GT3, GT3 RS, Carrera RS, any of those, and G63s. They're the only 2 cars that have stayed kind of at the same price or fluctuated only 10, 20, 30 grand. Everything else, like I said, Ferraris 488s you could get pre-COVID for 300 grand, and now you're paying 500 or something for it. Classic cars, so modern, I'm talking about modern cars. They're the only 2 G-Wagons, 911s that have stayed the same. Classic cars, no matter what's happening in the world, they'll always hold their value pretty well, like special things. I sell mainly classic Porsches because we mainly buy Porsches here. If you have a look on the showroom, I'm sure in the B-roll, you'll see a lot more Porsches than anything else. And that's solely to the fact that they're reliable and easy to sell. So we don't have to do any work to them or anything. We'll move on to another highlight. Obviously you guys are now looking at the 177 that we've got on the showroom floor, but that is, as far as I'm aware, the only 177 that's ever touched Australian soil. I don't know the exact number, but it's only one of a few right-hand drive cars. Obviously it's a special thing, one of 77, hence the name. Price-wise, between, $4 million around there. Obviously this is a different caliber of car to everything else, but yeah, it's pretty special to see. Obviously it's a V12, but it's a V12 Aston Martins have a very distinct sound, and this doesn't sound anything like I've ever heard. It's pretty cool. So obviously behind me we've got two very special Ferraris, a 275 GTB 4-cam, ultra rare, and even in the colour makes it even rarer than a normal 4-cam. And then obviously the Hail Mary, the F40, which I believe, I don't know if it's this one, but it's a very, very, very low kilometre car. Duttons have everything from brand new Rolls Royces all the way down to old Coopers here, which Sir Jackie Stewart races. We've got everything. And then even to the left of me, we're selling Land Rover Defenders. So obviously I'm stood in between two very special, we're keeping with the Lamborghini theme, aren't we? Two special Lamborghinis, a Diablo VT manual and the same car, just different colours. Both very ultra rare, and in the recent 5-10 years have gone up in value astronomically. I mean, I think at one point these were cheaper than Murcielagos, but now they're more expensive because, it's an older car, more heritage. Yeah, the nostalgia of it and the look. You're never going to buy a car that looks like this ever again. From the back, it looks like a genuine Batman car. But it's pretty cool to have a duo of them sat right next to each other, because here in Melbourne, in Australia, there's not many. There can't be many Australian delivered VT manuals. Pretty cool car, rear-wheel drive, V12, gated manual. Yeah, I'm not a tall person and I can't fit in that car. It's made for little Italians. New from Mercedes is the AMG GT Black Series. So you can get a normal Black Series with just a normal paint job, but this one is called the One Edition, hence the hand-painted, well, I don't know if they're hand-painted, but they're definitely painted on the car, the Mercedes symbols. You can only get that if you've got an AMG 1 on order. An AMG 1 is a $3-4 million car. I think there's only 3 delivered in Australia, or 4 delivered in Australia with the stickers on them, so with the painted symbols on them. So yeah, one day, I mean, it's $1.5–2 million now. One day I'm assuming it's going to be worth a lot more. Like SLS Black Series have gone the same way. For the same price as this, you can go and buy an SLS Black Series. So it's kind of, do you want an NA 6.2 SLS, or do you want a track focus thing that's pretty much a cup car? Why not both? Yeah. I mean, I'd take both, for sure. So Nick off camera has asked me what my favourite car is, or what excites me. I guess hanging around all these cars all the time, you kind of get acclimatized to it. So back in the day, I used to get really excited when I'd see these kind of cars out in the street. But now I'm kind of, I still appreciate it, of course, but you just become, I see them every day. So, but what's my favorite car? I mean, before I worked here, probably a 458 Speciale. But now that I've been here for quite a while and deal with cars, it'll be any GT product Porsche I'd take over anything. I'd have a 991.2 GT3, 3-year-old car, over a brand new Huracan STO or something. It's just, they're reliable, they're trustworthy, you can drive it as hard as you want and not feel guilty or worried that something's going to break. Parts are relatively cheap. But yeah, I think things that excite me in here, especially at the moment, is we've got a 993 Turbo and a 993 Turbo S, both awesome cars. And I think just that shape looks amazing. So out of all the cars here that we've got on sale, it would probably be the Turbo S or the Turbo that I like the most. This is where I work. It's pretty cool. If you have any questions, feel free to call us or talk to Nick or somehow. But yeah, come on in. It's an open showroom, so you're more than welcome to come in and have a look. See you later.